Hi there, it's Carol with Carolbcrafts. In this video we'll be making this sweet sympathy card. Sorry for your loss. My thoughts are with you. It is project number 4 in my prized Peony class kit. Each month I offer a kit for creating with a qualified purchase when you use my host code. You can find the details on my website www.carolbcrafts.com. Now if you don't have the class kit, I will give the dimensions as we go along so that you can make this card along with us. Now the prized Peony class kit centers around the prized Peony bundle, which is sold in my online store, and it's an awesome set. It has a 3D peony as well as some stamped images that you can color. Now we'll be coloring this flower here. We'll be using light and dark Petal pink Stampin' Blends. We'll also be using light and dark Mossy Meadow stamping blends. And to give it a little sparkle, I use the Clear Wink of Stella glitter brush that we sell. To stamp the image, I used Memento Tuxido black ink. And then to stamp the sentiments, I used Petal pink stamping pad. You want some regular and mini dimensionals. And I'm running out of room here, places to put stuff. I'll be using my Multipurpose Glue. And I'll be using our new Stampin Seal. And for placement of your sentiment on your little labels, you'll also want a piece of plastic. I have a 4x6 piece of window sheet here that I use. But if you don't have window sheet, usually your photopolymer stamps come with a piece of plastic that you can use. So I'll clear all this away and we'll get started on our awesome little sympathy card. So we'll get everything in our kit here. And be careful not to lose your little gems there. I'm going to set those aside so I don't lose them. And then we have some ribbon. You can set that aside. So let's do our stamping first. We have 2 little labels. And we're going to stamp the inside sentiment. And that will be stamped on. Let me make sure we give you the right one. Okay, that's the outside. They're both the same size? Okay, yeah, they are. So I guess that works out fine. So this must be the inside. So the smaller of the 2 white sheets here is the inside sentiment. So we'll set all the rest of this aside now that we got that figured out. So this is the inside, the smaller one. So we'll be stamping our inside sentiment. My thoughts are with you, or you could use another sympathy saying if you have a different stamp that you want to use. And then sorry for your loss will go on this, and then on this we'll be stamping our large peony flower image. Now this one is whisper white 4 1/4 5 1/2 first image, and then this inside sentiment whisper white is 3 3/4 by 5. And these 2 labels come from the Painted Poppy labels dies, and I use this label right here, and this is a bundle, Painted Poppies, and these label dies is a bundle that you can get in my store, and I'll put the number on the screen for you. And if you don't have that bundle, or you could always use a circle die or any other sentiment die that you want to put here. I think there's probably several options that you could come up with. So let's get out our Stamparatus and get stamping. So let me get this set up here. And we'll go ahead and do these labels first. So we'll get our 4x6 window sheet and put it here in the corner. And you'll also want a piece of scratch paper. I'm just using a sticky note. We'll get our stamp, Sorry for Your Loss. And we're going to stick it in the bottom left corner here. It's kind of a small stamp. Perfect for this little label here. Ink it up with our Petal pink ink. And this is going to give us our image to guide us as to where to place our little label. And I still have some sticky on here from before. But if you don't, you can get your Stampin Seal, which is our new adhesive. It just came out in our annual catalog. So I'm just going to put a little there and adhere this to this. That will let me slip this in underneath that plastic. And it's gonna kind of form a square. Even though it's round, the inside part is kind of square. So I'm just going to fit that sentiment inside that somewhat of a square in the middle. And then I'm going to, when I've got it where I want it, I'm just going to put this in place, remove the plastic, and ink that up again. Try to get that to lay flat. And lightly one more time, just to give it a nice rich image. Now we're done with that. I'll clean off my stamp and my plastic. So I'll put my plastic back in place, and this time I'm going to use My Thoughts Are With You, and I'm going to put it kind of at the bottom in the center and ink that up. And then I'm going to get the smaller of the two Whisper White pieces. That's our inside sentiment. And that just moved, so hopefully that's not going to be a problem. So when you're happy, put that on and ink up your stamp again. One more time. And there we are. So now we're going to stamp our flower image. I'll clean this up. So I'll be using this awesome stamp here. It's a pretty big stamp. And we're just going to stamp this on our 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 piece of Whisper White. We don't have to use our plastic this time. We're just going to put our flower there. We will be die cutting that. So I'll put it in the center. We're going to use Memento Tuxido black ink for this, and I like to rub my stamp to make sure I get all that detail before I dot it or tap it, because there's a lot of detail in this stamp. Beautiful detail. Okay, and then we're going to stamp it. Okay, it's kind of light, but that's okay because I'm going to be coloring it. But I might just do the inside a little bit more. That inside just a little bit more to get a little more of that detail. There we go. All right. So that is our stamping. So now we're going to do our coloring, and we'll start with our dark Petal pink, and I'll use the brush tip. I'm going to go in the parts that are shaded. I'm going to do that in dark Petal pink. And then I'm going to do light petal pink. And I'm going to start by going around the edge with my light petal pink. Okay, so I actually went around twice. Now I'm going to color the inside where I didn't color before. And just kind of blend those in with the darker. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing over here on this little flower, the dark petal pink in the shaded areas, and then come back in with the light petal pink. Now we're ready to do our leaves. We'll get our dark Mossy Meadow. I'm going to use the bullet tip and go over these veins in the leaves. Okay. And then I'm going to take my brush tip with the light Mossy Meadow, go around the edges of the leaves, and just go ahead and fill that in since I'm already here. Kind of blend it in, but not too much. Now we're going to do the stems, and I'm just going to use the very tip of my brush. Okay, now it's ready to die cut. Well, and if you have your Wink of Stella brush, this would be a good time to go ahead and put the Wink of Stella on it. Okay, I'm just going to do the flower part. So here's our die, and I'll get some removable tape. And what I'm going to do is line this up with my image. Then I'm going to tape it down so that it doesn't move while I take it to my die cutting machine and die cut my image. Okay, I have my image. Now we are all ready to start putting our card together. So I'll bring in the rest of our materials. We have a 8.5 by 5.5 thick Whisper White card base. I've scored it at 4 1/4. I'm going to crease that with my bone folder. So this is our front. Make sure it's opening right. So we have a piece of 4 by 5 1/4 petal pink cardstock. Then we have a piece of 3 7/8 by 5 1/8 DSP that's going to go here in the front. Then we have this piece. Now this piece is actually, I kind of did a little bit of doctoring to it. It comes from the mini medallions dies, and what I did is I used this die here, and this is a set mini mates, and the mini medallions dies is a bundle that I sell in my store, and it has many sentiments that you can use. So this is another all occasion sentiment set that you could get if you're looking to have something you can use over and over. So how I got this little piece here is I took a piece of 3 5/8 by 5 1/2 petal pink, and I just kind of put it here. I wanted to make sure I got 3 rows, 1 2 3. So I got 1 2 3, and I ran this through my Big Shot, which I will do right now. And then once I had run that through one time like that, I took my take your pick tool, the die brush, and I got rid of all those little pieces in there. So I will tell you that I did run that back and forth a few times in my machine. I didn't just do it one time. And if you do it multiple times, that gives that die a chance to cut through all of your paper. So then when I had this part, what I did is I turned it around and I matched up so that I would have 1, 2, 3, and I matched it up with the die so that it fit inside the die really well. And then I took some tape and taped it to the part that was sticking out at the top like this, and then I ran it again through my machine, and that would cut this part only. So I'll go run that through the machine again. So once I ran that through, and I just ran it over this part, I didn't run it the whole way through, I got this part here, which is what you see there. So this is going to go here. Now I had 2 ribbons and I couldn't decide which ribbon I liked, whether I liked that ribbon or whether I liked that ribbon. So I decided I would do both ribbons, and I think it looks all right. I think it looks fine. Our flower will go here, and then our little sentiment, let me take it and twist it off here. It's going to go, well, our flower is going to go more like right here, and our sentiment will go there. So let's go ahead and put that together. We'll start by putting this DSP on our cardstock, and I'm going to use our new Stampin Seal for that. I'll just go and put it down here. It's just a really thin, I think it's only like a 1/16 of an inch difference, so it's not even a full 1/8. And then for this, we're going to put it on with glue dots, which I probably forgot to tell you you'll need. So in each corner on the back, inside this area here, you can fit a glue dot without it really showing through. Just have to center it. And one more. No, that one doesn't want to come off. And then I'll put a couple here in the center, one here and one here. And then that's going to go about, the top of this is about 3/4 of an inch from the top of the cardstock. So I'm going to use the squares and my grid paper to kind of help me know where to put this. Okay, and it's just might hang off a little on the edge because it's going to go on the front of your cards, so that's not going to be a problem. So now we're going to do our ribbon, and our ribbon is also about 3/4 of an inch from the bottom of the cardstock. So I'm going to put some snail on the back, or some Stampin Seal. And I'm not going to be stingy with it. So that's going to give my ribbon something to hold on to. Make sure I get the front out here. So about 3/4 of an inch, and thereabouts, and then find a, okay, that looks good. And now I'm going to put some Stampin Seal here on the back, and do the same thing with my silver ribbon. Now I need to tell you what ribbons these are and how much they are. that's 6 inches, so both ribbons are 6 inches long. And I'm going to put it in the center. Here we go. And I'll tell you what ribbons those are here. The Petal Pink ribbon is the organdy striped ribbon. And I'll put that number on the screen. It's a really beautiful Petal Pink ribbon. And then the silver ribbon is the Shimmer ribbon, and it is Gray Granite Shimmer ribbon, and it's gorgeous. So those are my ribbons, 6 inches each. So now we can put this on the front of our card, now that we have our ribbon on. And this has 1/8 of an inch, so. Now our flower is going to go on kind of like, it's kind of laying down here. And it's going to go on with mini dimensionals, because we wanted to have it kind of sitting off of the base. So on the back, I'm going to just put dimensionals in random places here that will give it the flower support. Put some up here around the top, around the edges of the top, and a couple here in the little bud, and one there on the stems. Okay, so let me take all these backings off, and we're going to kind of lay this just kind of flat and near the edge, so that this is kind of straight across and a little bit below here. All right, and now this is going to go on with I'm going to put a glue dot up here, and I'm going to put a regular size dimensional right down here. Get my glue dot on the back up the top, and then this is just going to go right about here. Make sure it's straight. All right, so we'll go ahead and do the inside. Get our inside sentiment and our Petal Pink. I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal for this. Okay, we're almost finished. All we have left to do is to put our little gems on. We're going to put 1, 2, 3 up at the top, the largest one. Well, we should start with the smallest and go over towards the so I'm going to use again my take your pick tool and pick up these smaller ones. Maybe. And then lastly the big one. And those gems are from our Elegant Faceted Gems that goes with this suite. Okay, well there's our card, and I hope that you enjoyed making your card with me. Check out my website, www.carolbcrafts.com, to see what current kit I'm offering as a customer reward. Thanks for watching. Bye now.